What's up, Staunch Gang, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the New Metal Files. Now, I told you I'd be coming back with another one of these, I told you, and this time around, I let you guys vote. You guys got to vote on my community posts on YouTube. Be sure to hit that notification bell. It'll keep you updated with all that kind of stuff. So you guys picked a good one. I gave the choice for three amazing bands. Sevendust, Amen, and Snot. Now, guess which one won? Yes, Sevendust. Now, I've spoken about the group a few times before. I've been wanting to do an episode on them for a while now. I do feel like Sevendust, early on at least, had a lot of potential. Like, these dudes were obviously better than a lot of the bands that were kind of coming out around the same time, but then a lot of their peers, if you will. And you watch some interviews from back in the day, like people that went on tour with Sevendust and whatnot, bands that had to follow them, on the stage. They talk about like how nobody wanted to follow Sevendust because they would absolutely tear shit up. Upon first glance, you might think, whatever, just another radio rock group, right? I mean, that's kind of like, in my opinion, what they turned into. But I do think there was something very special early on, and something special that remains with the group even today, if I'm being completely honest, as I did a little skim through a lot of their music. But I have to say, the magic that was there from the start, it never quite left, but it was never as pungent as it was in those early days. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about the group in a bit, but for now, let's get to it. We're going to look at a few tracks from Sevendust. We're getting started with one of my favorite tracks from the group. I believe it was like their first real hit. Of course, we're talking Black. All right, here we go.
Make us feel like we at home. What's up,
This is a band that I always wondered, like, why do they have two guitarists? And then you see them live and you realize it's like the wall of sound thing, and just how tight everything is. Like, you can hear and see exactly why these dudes have the setup they have and the sound that they're going for. They completely nailed it, in my opinion.
Do y'all know we are Sevendust? Are y'all ready?
I don't believe the intro was this long on the recording. Okay, here we go. Now, I guess with this group, it's like the same can be said with a lot of other bands. A lot of their exclusive, like to Sevendust of this era, I think like they got thrown into the new metal, mess, if you will. They came out at that time. They're fucking with the low end. They're very rhythmic. And you got an African American singer or whatever jumping around, the come on, get up. They didn't take it to the extreme of mediocrity, like to be complete new metal in that genre. To me, they're more like, I guess, alternative, like hard rock or whatever. But at this time, I mean, you have to lean into that style, and if they didn't, they would have been just some disposable. What do you guys think about this track, Black? Look at this shit. Lejean, the singer, man, he's one hell of a front, man. Lejean Witherspoon. One hell of a front, man. Their drummer, too, is it Morgan Rose, is it? I believe. Man, that dude is a bad motherfucker. And those dudes are like basically the heart and soul of Sevendust, the guys who started the group. A lot of people there too. This is right in the prime, man. This is like 98, 99, I think. It's just pure energy, man. Like, this is before any gimmicks were kind of in their arsenal. These are just straight killing it. Now, I actually got to see Sevendust. My very first concert was Sevendust. It was on Machine Head's tour. It was Machine Head. They were touring for the Burning Red. And along with Sevendust was Chevelle and Orange 9mm. Orange 9mm opened up the show. And then it was Chevelle, an unknown Chevelle at the time. All I remember is that I saw them on MTV2, and they had a music video that looked a lot like Tool, and they sounded a lot like Tool, and I thought they were just a Tool ripoff band, whatever. Orange 9mm was a lot of fun live, though, I will say. And then Sevendust came on, tore the place apart. I mean, the place, it was just like this recording. That brings back so many memories. They just were nonstop, full throttle, and I got to meet the guys beforehand. My cousin, I was actually going out with Dan Rios, one of the radio guys in Corpus Christi. The two guys in the morning, one of those guys at the time. Well, he was there, and we walked up. My brother took me to the show. I was very young. I must have been like 12 or 13. And we pull up to the show. We get out, and this place isn't even around anymore. And we see my cousin making out with this dude. And it's the guy from the radio who I won the tickets from. I won tickets to this on the radio, by the way. And then they let me in, and they're like, "Hey, you want to meet the band?" I was like, "Sure." And I got to meet Sevendust. The dude was about as tall as I was, and this was when I was in 7th grade. I remember I had a tie-dye Superman shirt, and he was like, "That's a tight shirt, man." And I was looking down at the guy. It was John Witherspoon, very short fella. And Orange 9mm came out, and I got to meet them too. But the rest of the guys, I guess, were too cool to come out. Interesting time, though, for being my first concert. It always stuck with me. I always knew there was something more happening with these guys. All right, let's check out what I think is their biggest hit, right? The Denial. That was the track that like got all of us into Sevendust. Let's see here. And hey, we're going to be watching Sevendust live on farmclub.com. I've talked about them a few times. Let me know down below. I could not have been the only one watching Farm Club probably this exact day and time 23 years ago. Let me know. Pinfield, you son of a bitch.
Some noise for Sevendust!
I don't know. I talk a lot of shit, but Farm Club was a really cool show. It was like the new metal show. Live performances, cutting music videos. Some really good live audio on this show. Go back and watch it. And this show did give a lot of unknown bands a shot, even though a lot of them were ass. Shout out to Farm Club. Here we go. Here we go. Everybody jump. Everybody jump. These beats are so tight. And if you listen closely, like it sounds a lot like some repetitive whatever. Some ooga booga guitar, but there's a lot happening. This dude's dramatically solid. I love that those backup vocals from the drummer. I'm telling you, that farmclub.com solid live audio. Man.
Let's not stop till we bang. The more you spit out to me, the less I will let. Tonight seems it to come, but I don't mean to settle. Tonight
This is still a good tune, man. This has got to be one of the best rock songs from the whole year. Very happy to see these guys early on. I would see them again in a heartbeat today. You see what I mean? Like those two guitars really shine when you watch them live. That shit goes hard. It took a lot of industrial elements too. As tight as the drums are, there's a lot of industrial stuff happening there too. I mean, I gotta say, I do recommend Sevendust. Let's see what Wikipedia has to say about Sevendust. Sevendust is an American rock and roll band from Atlanta, Georgia, formed in 1994 by bassist Vince Hornsby, drummer Morgan Rose, and rhythm guitarist John Connolly. Oh, crazy. I always assumed that LeJean was a founding member. I guess not. After their first demo, lead vocalist LeJean Witherspoon and lead guitarist Clint Lowry joined the group, so they had something out before without LeJean. I wonder if that was, let's see here, let's keep going. I want to see what, maybe they were called before that. Following a few name changes, the members settled on the name Sevendust and released their self-titled debut album on April 15th, 1997, which sold only 310 copies, but ultimately achieved gold certification through touring and support from the label TVT Records. Now, TVT Records, I always thought was a bit of a strange label. Like, I think it was, 9 Inch Nails that had a lot of issues with them or whatever. Since formation, Sevendust have attained success with 3 consecutive gold certified albums, a Grammy nomination, and have sold millions of records worldwide. The group has released a total of 14 studio albums, god damn, including a reissue of their debut, which contains 5 new tracks and a DVD. Crazy. Okay, let's see. The band originally in 1994 with Morgan Rose, Vince Hornsby, Snake Nation. What an awful name. And then they hired LaJean Witherspoon on. That's around the time they changed their name to Rumblefish. If I'm not mistaken, there was a track called Rumblefish from the guys, actually. Were forced to rename themselves because there was already a band called that. Do you believe that shit? They chose Crawl Space. Where do I remember Crawl Space from? Okay, yeah, they were on the Mortal Kombat More Combat or whatever. I believe Edema was on that too. That must be where I remember them. Shit. And then they changed their name to Sevendust after selling the name Crawl Space as a homage, I guess, to the bug poison. Strange. But yeah, these dudes, they were kind of, I guess, like, partially found, or produced by the Twisted Sisters guitarist JJ French, I believe it was. So whenever like Sevendust popped up later on the Strangeland soundtrack, it's kind of why there's like a strange Sevendust Twisted Sister connection. But these dudes basically just like worked their asses off on huge tours, touring with everyone they could, Ozfest, Dynamo, stuff like that. Like I said, I saw them on a goddamn new metal Machine Head tour. So, and from what I remember, like even early on, even with some stuff on Home, I felt it was a bit overproduced, and like I was leaning more towards the heavier stuff. And I was young noticing that, and it's like what they followed Home with I remember it was the album Animosity, which was also just, in my opinion, so overproduced. And there was a few good tracks, but it's like whenever they were aggressive, whenever Sevendust was pissed off, that's what I liked about the group. And fortunately, around this time, they did that track Angel's Son for Lynn Strait from Snot. So he passed away, and they did this whole tribute, and they just overplayed that. I'm sorry, the video with all the cameo-laden video with like everybody from the era popping in and then the song itself is okay, I guess, but they played it a lot, and it was just all over the place, and I can go the rest of my life without ever hearing that song. Anyways, so like with the group, they kept going on after that, and in my opinion, they kind of went the radio rock route. They started to sound more like other bands, but again, even then, they sounded a little bit better than all those other bands, in my opinion. I would kind of check in from time to time. I largely checked out early on after Home and whatnot. But I would check in from time to time, and it does seem like the guys are coming back more around, coming back to the more aggressive stuff, and they seem very aware of everything that they've done in their careers, and they wear it on their sleeves, man, literally. Maybe not LaJean Witherspoon, he doesn't really wear sleeves, but the rest of the guys, they're very proud of their careers. They let it be known when they make mistakes. They are an overall a classic American rock band. I mean, these dudes. These dudes managed to make it in a time where bands like this weren't necessarily getting known. It was because of their raw talent, in my opinion. It was noticeable to everybody, and even now you can look back and notice it. So I mean, more power to Sevendust. Maybe I'll do I listen to Sevendust if you guys want to hear me go album by album and check and let you know my thoughts. Let me know down below. I might do that. We will see. Let me know down below what other new metal bands to cover next. Thanks for joining me, guys. Merry Christmas to all. Join all the strange fun only on Staunch TV.